Hello guys, today we will be talking about installing Jenkins on GCP, and for this deployment I will be using my aCloud Guru account and the sandbox that is provided by aCloud Guru. Let me go ahead and log into my account. I'm logged in and I'm going to go to the playgrounds. I have AWS, I have Azure, I have GCP. I will be using GCP today, and let me log into GCP account. If you have a lot of accounts that you've used to log in, it's always a problem. I'm going to use the right one. This is the new one that is provided, and this gets deleted like every 4 hours, so make sure you check the username and password. Alright, so I am logged in to the GCP account. So before we create the clusters, we have to go to the Kubernetes engine, click on clusters, and you have to enable this Kubernetes engine API. Once this is done, you will be able to spin up some standard clusters. Alright, so the Kubernetes API was enabled. So I'm going to go ahead and click on create. Let's get started. So this is an autopilot cluster which I do not need. So if you see this option, switch to the standard cluster. That is what we want. So I'm going to click on the standard cluster and switch. So let's just call it Jenkins. Let us use all the standard selections. So it's selected as US Central version. Let's keep it standard. The default pool, it's a 3-node cluster. I'm not changing anything there. In the nodes, I'm going to change it and make it a Ubuntu cluster. Networking, security, yeah, everything remains the same. Just go ahead and click on create. Please make sure that the cost to this is $176, but since I'm using a playground, this is free of cost to me. So whenever you create a cluster, make sure you delete it if you don't plan on getting billed. This is going to take 3 to 5 minutes. I'll be back once this is ready. Alright guys, so the cluster is up and running. So we'll go ahead and try to connect this cluster using the command that is provided here in our terminal. So if you see, we need to log into this gcloud. So I'm going to log in. Alright, so we are logged in. We might have to run this command again. Right, before that, let us first set the project, so we are not building something in a different project as to where we have our cluster created. So if you go to this, select on this drop down and project, yeah, this is set, and I'll just run this command again. Alright, okay, so we need to go ahead and add this Helm repo from here. This would be the first step. So I'm going to add this repo. If I do a Helm repo list, you would see Jenkins over here. I also have Argo added. So this is the repo that got added, and now we are going to update this to see if there's anything that needs to be updated. Alright, this is done, and the next step would be to basically go ahead and install So with Helm, it's going to be very easy. Just 3 commands and we'll have Jenkins up and running. Alright, if you see, it gives us a few things over here. It gives us the namespace where it's deployed, the status, the revision. This is the version basically, so if you deploy it one more time, it's going to be revision 2 or upgrade. So that way you're able to go back and forth with the versions. So what it tells you here is, if you want to access the console, you would need to port forward using this service. Let me go ahead and see if the pods are up and running. Okay, so there's still one more pod that needs to be up. Let us wait for that and let us see what other things got deployed. Okay, so you see still one pod running, and you have this service Kubernetes, which is a cluster IP, service Jenkins agent, and you have a stateful set. So yeah, let us wait for this. Okay, so we have the pods up and running. So we will now go ahead and paste the command that we copied to port forward. Before we run the port forward command, what we would need to do is get the password. In order to get the password, to get the password, I don't know if they provide the password. Okay, here it is. So the first command will return you the password. Yeah, execute, and you got the password right here. And I'm going to go ahead and enter the port forward command. So now you could go to this 127.0.0.1 port 8080 and log in using your admin and password. This is the admin user, and I'm going to copy this password, and you should be in. Yes, there you go. The downside I would say to this is, if you go ahead and cancel this and you want to go use this is not going to work. So this is not a feasible option in a production environment. You have to get this on the DNS, or you have another option. If it's using a cloud environment, you could basically configure it as a load balancer. Let us do that in a few minutes. So if you see this service, you will have to, and if you see the service, this is of type cluster IP. We need this to be a load balancer. So I'm going to edit this kubectl edit service Jenkins and change the type from cluster IP to a load balancer. Yeah, this should be good. Alright, there was no issues over there. Okay, so if you see the difference, so here it was a cluster IP, after this was edited, now it's a load balancer, and you see the external IP is pending, and you see this node port, the port number that got assigned, and this is port 8080. So once this gets an external IP, you will be able to access it using that one. Yeah, this should take a few more minutes. Alright, so this is up and running. So let me go back to the GCP console and show you where you'll find that it is configured as a load balancer. So if you see my Jenkins, this is the pod, and this is the agent. These are basically the two pods that we have, and this we have configured as an external load balancer. If you go ahead and click on the IP, of the load balancer. This is where you come and use the same password that you had. In order to log in. So this is so simple. If you are using Google Cloud or any other cloud and using Helm to install, I prefer using this playground that I have on a Cloud Guru, because I would not be able to keep track of canceling or doing anything of that sort. So it saves me money. Alright guys, thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next video.